You handed us this stack of specs and reviews on the new Alpine A290, and looking through them, it presents this really fascinating physics paradox. I mean, can you take a heavy, battery-loaded EV and somehow trick it into feeling like a lightweight, unhinged classic hot hatch?
Yeah, that is the ultimate mission of this deep dive. We're unpacking the technical data and that early owner feedback you shared to see how Alpine is attempting to bridge this gap, between a sensible, eco-friendly commuter car and an absolutely unhinged weekend joyride.
I am really struggling with the math here, though. You're adding hundreds of kilos of lithium-ion batteries to a car category that literally relies on being light. How is this not just a fast brick? It sounds like trying to teach a bowling ball to do ballet.
That's a great way to put it. Well, if the heavy battery pack is the bowling ball, the suspension acts as the ballet dancer's ankles. So first, Alpine utilized this all-aluminum design to keep the overall weight down to a relatively light 1,479 kilograms.
Which, I mean, for an EV is pretty good.
Exactly, yeah. But to manage the mass that they just couldn't cut, they used rally-style hydraulic bump stops and a multi-link rear suspension.
Okay, I want to pause on those terms because they sound great in a brochure, but what do they actually do to hide all that weight?
Right, so normally standard rubber bump stops just sort of bounce a heavy car back up when you hit a bump.
It feels terrible.
It totally disrupts your handling, yeah. Hydraulic stops, on the other hand, absorb that heavy battery's downward force like a fluid cushion, so it's keeping the tires glued to the road. Then, that multi-link suspension allows each rear wheel to move and pivot independently.
No, absorbing the weight so the car lands softly instead of just crashing through the floorboards.
Precisely.
So the hardware stops it from feeling like a brick. But hardware can only hide so much weight, right? The reviews you provided mentioned they had to turn to digital trickery to get that genuine hot hatch drama.
Yeah, big time. You have a 220 horsepower motor, and there's an actual overtake button on the steering wheel for a 10-second power boost.
Plus the synthetic engine noise.
Oh yeah, they engineered this specific cabin sound that owners are literally describing as jumping to light speed in Star Wars. And, it works.
That's wild.
We're seeing early feedback from Italian owners praising the car for delivering this rare karting feeling that most modern EVs completely lack.
Right, and that karting feeling leads right into my biggest question about the sources you shared, because the A290 has this Alpine telemetrics app built directly into the screens.
The digital coach, yeah.
Exactly. It's actively teaching you how to induce liftoff oversteer, getting the back end of the car to slide out when you lift off the accelerator. But EVs naturally have a low center of gravity
They do, yeah.
and a highly stable 50.5 euro weight distribution.
Hmm.
They inherently want to be stable. So are they artificially engineering instability into the software just to mimic a classic nose-heavy petrol car?
It is a highly deliberate choice. I mean, from a pure physics standpoint, an EV wants to stay perfectly planted. But human psychology is funny.
Perfection is boring.
We find perfection boring, right?
Right.
A classic hot hatch is beloved specifically because it feels a little bit dangerous, a little bit loose and unpredictable.
Okay, that makes sense.
So Alpine is using sophisticated software alongside bespoke anti-roll bars to intentionally loosen up that natural EV grip. They are simulating the analog flaws of a petrol engine to manufacture a sense of fun.
So you might be wondering how this affects your daily commute, because making an EV act like a flawed rally car has to come with compromises.
Oh, strict
Oh,
compromises,
jeez.
especially regarding space and range. To keep the car agile and compact, the back seat is incredibly cramped.
And the battery range takes a hit too, right?
Yeah, despite the official claims of 236 miles of range, real-world driving puts it closer to 180 miles. On the highway, owners are reporting that it drops under 250 kilometers.
Because highway driving just destroys EV range. You're fighting constant aerodynamic drag at high speeds.
Without the benefit of the regenerative braking you'd get in stop-and-go city traffic, exactly.
But looking at the daily benefits, I mean, it's not all compromises. You get massive 4-piston Brembo brakes. That's 4 hydraulic cylinders clamping down for serious, heavy-duty stopping power.
Yeah, and you get durability that was literally tested in the Arctic Circle to ensure the electronics and seals hold up.
Plus, you're looking at 40 to 50% less maintenance compared to a petrol sports car, saving roughly 975 euros a year on fuel.
It's an investment in a daily driver that vastly reduces your running costs, while trying to preserve a tactile, emotional experience that the automotive world is rapidly losing to digitalization.
Which brings up a lingering thought for you to explore after this deep dive. As cars like the A290 increasingly rely on synthetic engine noises, artificial power boosts, and software coaches to manufacture fun, are we still actually driving the car?
Right? Or is the software simply simulating a thrill for us? When the flaws themselves are programmed, it certainly blurs the line between human skill and software simulation.
Are we drivers or just passengers in a highly advanced video game? Truly something to chew on. Thank you so much for bringing your curiosity and these incredible sources to this deep dive today. Until next time, keep questioning what's under the hood.